Hello and welcome back to RimWorld Biotech. We begin our day with the Elves, where we have a full stock of wood, traps are set, and the fields are nearly grown. A stressed Margarita attempts to relax, but she is interrupted quickly by the first raid of the episode. We quickly add a roofing zone over the trap tunnel before checking on what the Karokai Covenant is attacking us with. It looks like they are attacking us from multiple angles, with primitive melee and ranged weapons. We post up inside the base, waiting for them to enter the trap tunnel, and they are rapidly dispatched with a plethora of wooden traps available. It's time to unrestrict our animals and pawns and hunt down the lone escapee. Looking at the bios, we see a jogger and an unwaveringly loyal pawn. Either way, it's still worth getting some doctoring XP, so we put our pawns to work to capture and doctor the downed enemies. As our food runs dry, a crop of rice is finished just in time for a late night harvest. While catching up on some food, a wild boar attempts to charge into our base but is quickly dispatched by our spike traps. Our future kitchen is not the best place for prisoners, so it's time to construct a small prison room to house our unwilling guests. While construction begins on our prison, we are greeted with another raid from Beton. We post up in a defensive position to try and get a few shots off when they exit the trap tunnel. Unfortunately for our husky puppy, we failed to zone the animals indoors, and the dog pays the price. After getting a quick shot off on Coyote, we Unfortunately for our dogs, I realized too late that I needed to zone them inside, and one of them gets knocked out. After downing Billa, our enemies begin to flee. It's time to patch up the dogs and get back to work. Once some of our traps are repaired and our prison room is built, it's time to relocate the prisoners to the new facilities. When we strip one of the prisoners, his clothing holds the door open, triggering Dinosaur to attempt an escape. We of course cannot let this happen. A few arrow shots later, and he joins Green and Billa in the new prison, and we get the chance to gain some more medical experience for Daichi. We finally complete complex clothing, which will enable us to move away from tribal clothes. And what better choice to research next than Devil Strand, a slow growing but effective cloth for future clothing production? The excitement dies down for a little bit, and we catch up on food production when two of our colonists and two prisoners come down with sleeping sickness. Thankfully, Wormy is super immune and appears to be doing just fine. Daichi, however, is another story. It's time for Margarita to form a caravan, to drain some of the wealth from our colony, and see if we can stockpile some supplies for the future. We pack up all available weapons and leather to sell at the only nearby neutral settlement. Pepper must step in as a part time cook and doctor while Daichi is down and out with sleeping sickness. Now that we've moved the kitchen to the next room, we can build appropriate shelving for supplies to speed up the food production process and make it more efficient. Wormy comes down with a double sickness, battling the flu and sleeping sickness simultaneously. While he wanders around aimlessly, we cannot tend to him, so we must wait for the time being. Food begins to run scarce as our colonists are overworked and underavailable due to illness and caravanning. There's not enough time for necessary harvesting and planting, and our prisoners are the first to pay the price for this mismanagement. Pepper does their best to keep food production running while trying to play doctor, chef, and gardener simultaneously. With the food situation becoming desperate, we must reprioritize some jobs to make sure that cutting and planting happens as a top priority. Our caravan arrives and we are able to sell all of our supplies, giving us enough money to buy several hundred pemmican and some steel to bring back to our settlement. As the sun sets on our settlement, a much needed harvest comes through and helps us barely avoid starvation yet again. Hopefully our caravan makes it back home in time to resupply us. And tragedy befalls us yet again as our caravan gets attacked by two man-hunting monkeys. Our shooting skill does us no favors as we repeatedly miss shot after shot and end up engaged in melee combat with a zero melee skill. After much punching and many scratches and bites, we manage to pull off a victory and resume our trip home. The remainder of the evening is fairly uneventful, continually checking our illness progression while Marta and Pepper go to the fields to replant much needed rice and fiber corn. Pepper continues to churn out simple meals whenever possible to meet the ravishing hunger of our elvish tribe. Our herb maker Dryad produces some additional medicine for us, while we spend the rest of the evening catching up on sleep, doing some cleaning, and producing some more simple meals. Dai Chi is precariously close to reaching immunity, but it remains out of reach for the time being. With Daichi entering a daze while desperately needing tending, we are left with little choice but to issue a command to arrest and then release him to break the daze, allowing us to once again treat his illness. This setback causes his immunity to fall even further behind, approaching an unrecoverable level. More herbal medicine is produced as a mad monkey attacks our sick Daiji. He was out tending the animals who had the flu, as I had neglected to lower the priority of his doctoring abilities, a mistake on my part that may yet prove fatal for him. A granlin pod sprouts as Margarita returns to the village, something we will have to tend to in the future, but do not currently have the resources to deal with. A poor 12% 10 quality for Daichi seals his fate, and we play the waiting game as he falls deeper into illness. There's no rest for the wicked, however, as a pack of wolves raid us, sneaking in through the side door we never got around to repairing. Thankfully, enough traps were built on the inside to dispatch them accordingly. Good timing, too, as the rice is far from being grown and we desperately need some meal production. Looks like meat's back on the menu tonight. A few hours later, Daichi meets his untimely demise due to sleeping sickness, a disease that later in the game would be no challenge, but early on can be challenging with poor 10 quality rolls. Our tribe needs to properly bury him and have a funeral. The burial happens, and a panther decides to try and make Marta a snack shortly afterwards. A few bow shots later, and he backs off, bleeding and likely dying in the near future away from the base. Pepper once again catches up on food production as we finally finish flooring the production room. Hopefully, this will make it easier to keep clean going forward. As we draw the episode to a close, we complete the research for Devilstrand and establish a patch near the rest of our farm area, hopefully a source for future revenue and clothing material that will pay off. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to see more content in the future, and share your thoughts in the comments of this new recording format. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.